What up, everybody? Daily drive number 3. We're coming at you this Sunday. I went in this morning. I left my house around 5:30. We're on day 10 of no nicotine, so it's been a lot of fun. Just straight up cold turkey, right? Like a couple Thursdays ago, I say, hey, we're quitting nicotine. And now here we are 10 days later. I still wish every time that I'm driving that like my regular pen here was just like still wish it was, but it's not. It is what it is. So we're making progress in the right direction, and that's all that matters. Daily drive wise though, it's a good day. You only got to work a few hours on a Sunday. It's a good day. You know, everybody gets their paperwork. Took the time to do what I'll call my data analysis for the day. Sent out my emails that need to be sent, knowing that it's Sunday and most everybody else isn't probably looking at their email anyways. So keep my work phone handy. Make sure if anybody calls me, I'm available. But for the most part, I don't need to be physically in the building for more than a few hours on a Sunday. So that feels good. Helps me out when Fridays, right? Spend all day with my kids, keeps them out of daycare, saves us a little money. And I know that while I do stuff to come in on Sundays, usually home no later than 1 o'clock on a Sunday. Today I'll be home by, I'll be home before 10. I got in there a little early, but nothing crazy. Definitely been in there earlier and stayed later before, so. Oh man, daily drive. I realized that with the daily drive I do have to record and upload on the day that I record, otherwise people won't really be following along with my nicotine free journey, if that's what we want to call it. Basically just want to get sober, right? Completely sober. So I think after nicotine I'll have to cut out caffeine. Now I don't drink caffeine day in and day out, like in any sort of habitual way at this point, or I should say ritual way, where it's like every day I gotta have my morning cup of coffee or anything. But I will say that most days I usually get some variant of caffeine, whether it's some caffeine in my pre-workout or caffeine just from a Mountain Dew, a Coke, or something. I only like stop and buy one at a gas station maybe if I'm really craving it. But I think caffeine will be my next goal once we make it probably at least 90 days or so with no nicotine. So if you're out there wanting to quit your bad habits as well and you want to join me and follow along and comment whatever, feel free, have at it. I'm more than happy to share in this journey / battle with whoever wants to be a part of it. But yeah, so it's been a good few days. Cannot complain. Erica took Lincoln to the Fulton County Fair yesterday, and they got to have a blast with her parents. I hung out with Lyndon. Friday was a great day, hanging out with both my kids, just the 3 of us or whatever, while Erica was working. Last Thursday was the week mark and also our anniversary. So we did the fun stuff like watch our wedding video and just kind of reminisce on 4 years ago. And I was right back to it the next day, because now that we got kids, you don't really get to just enjoy a whole bunch of time reminiscing or anything like that. You got to keep it moving and keep at it, So should be a pretty solid day though. We got today with an easy light day at work, and then tomorrow we actually don't operate, so everybody just gets an actual day off, which is good. It's good for our drivers, good for our people, package handlers, everybody involved, at least in my opinion. I mean, I guess there's probably somebody out there that would say otherwise, and good for them, but I think that having a day off helps people out in the long run. A day where you don't think like, we chose to take this off, so it could bite us in the butt. It's just a standard day. Everybody's going to take it off. I've been in situations where you're so far behind that on the day that everybody else doesn't get to operate, you still got to go in and operate. mean, I'm sure it helps digging out of the hole, but for those of them out there that are even in the smallest of holes, you just feel for them. Kind of wish that they could find their way out of it and not have to operate, because we all know the benefits of not operating, right? A little mental break, better mental health, whatever else comes along with that. So, sorry, Bubs, I need to get over. Got a guy coming up behind me, and he's going just quick enough that I want to let him pass. He's got to be going, what, 83? I'm going 80. Maybe he's going 85. She, whatever, can't tell. Who cares? As long as nobody gets pulled over this morning, that's all I care about, right? Oh, give me a brief pause. I just stop that, play it back a little, because so this is going to be daily drive number 3. I've been recording videos every day, but something happened on days, I guess what would have been 3, 4, 5 sorry, where everything sounded very robotic. My voice had this echo to it. The video had this echo to it. I think it was having my phone charger plugged in that made it happen. Not 100% sure, but fairly confident that that was the case. So I can't have my phone charger plugged in when I'm doing this, and I can't let my phone get too close to dead, otherwise it won't work out. So those are obviously some simple things that probably anybody who's ever created content knows, but when you're just kind of getting into the swing of wanting to become consistent in doing this, you have to figure out some tiny things along the way that are maybe just really simple things. But part of the process, right? When you're level 0 or 1 as a content creator in the RuneScape scale of mastery, you're trying to get to, I don't know, whatever level you see fit, 50, 60, 70, I don't know. Maybe you want to be a 99 psychopath. It's possible, right? But anyways, wherever you want to get to, it's doable. But here, starting at that 1 or that 0, you can't ever forget that. I mean, you could probably buy some level up. You can get yourself some little boosts here and there by spending your hard-earned money, but I think the easiest, tried and truest way is to just remain consistent. To put in work on a consistent basis. If someone puts in work on a consistent basis, they'll always win. That's one thing I'd want somebody to learn from if they happen to catch the daily drive. You happen to catch the daily drive, I want you to know that as long as you're willing to put in consistent work, do good work, you're going to win. Might not be today, might not be tomorrow, might not be next year. It might take you 5 years, it might take you 10 years, it might take you 25 years, I don't know, but at some point you're going to be winning. Like that, just good quality, consistent work, being a good human being, doing right by others, doing your job right. I don't know, I won't call it a law of the universe, right? Because I don't know all the laws of the universe, but I do know that you do everything right, morally right, to the best of your abilities, put in real quality effort. You just stay consistent is the key, man. You gotta stay consistent. If you stay consistent, whoo, opportunity will present itself. You'll also have the ability to just go hunt down whatever opportunity you want if you're really feeling some way about it. But maybe there's a job you really want, maybe there's a career path you really want to pursue. I mean, you're gonna have to put in some work. There's gonna be some times where it sucks. You're gonna start out at that 0. Don't forget about that RuneScape scale, right? Everybody can go 0 to 100 in any category, but every level costs more time and more experience, more work put in. And I think that as long as you're willing to put in the work, though, and stay consistent, you can probably change your life in 1 to 3 years. No doubt about it. If you really want to change your life, it doesn't take long. You know what I mean? Eric and I wanted to move across the country, and we did. And then we wanted to move back because we're going to have a second kid, so we did. didn't have to sacrifice anything other than time and effort, quality effort along the right avenues, right? Like, I applied for 1, 2, 3 jobs. She applies for 1, 2, 3 jobs. Things work out. Get to move back, but we also got to move there. And that was Lincoln's born in May, and I move in September. I'd say by July, end of July, we were already like, man, I know he's only 2 months old, but do we want to move? Like, is this something that we should pursue? Is this something we should look at? Do we want to live here, there, wherever, etc.? Made a list of all the places we were willing to live. I just looked at places that had jobs, applied. I mean, like, you can change your life real quick, and you can change it right back too. Like, you can pretty much do whatever you want, as long as you're willing to stay consistent and put in the work. I mean, I don't do anything exceptional, but like, my boss never beats me to work, never will. I'll never allow that to happen. And she could probably try to show up early next week someday with the intent of beating me to work. For some reason on that day, I would just wake up at 2 a.m. and not be able to go back to sleep. And I'd be like, hey, I'm leaving and going to work early. Because that's just how life works out for me half the time, because I put in an insane amount of consistent work. And then when things like that do actually happen, I really do just come into work at 2:30, 3 o'clock. And on those random days are the days when maybe, I don't know, people that I don't want to outwork me, or ever to let them think that they've outworked me. I don't ever want anybody to beat me to work and think that they're outworking me. Nope. And I guess maybe that's just for my own mental advantage, my own ego. But I've always looked at it like, I should put in a little bit more work, a little bit more time than my boss. I don't necessarily care if people below me are working more hours than me, especially if they're in that hourly role. Then I respect that, because like, I was somebody who, when I was in the hourly role, was working 70 plus hours a week if my boss would let me. Like, if I could get the hours, if we needed coverage, yep, sign me up, yep, sign me up, yep, sign me up. Like, I was putting in those hours. But now that I'm salary, the goal is to work the fewest amount of hours possible while yielding the best results possible. So you want to yield results that align with your company's and your bosses and your own expectations. And as long as your results are there, then you start looking at like, okay, how can I make more efficient use of my time and still maintain these results? How can I make even more efficient use of my time and still maintain these results? It all matters that you keep those results. Like, those results are what keep you in good graces with everyone when you're leaving at noon, when you're leaving at 1. And like, as soon as things start to slide, you have to identify it, right? I track a lot of data. As soon as we start to slide even the smallest amount, like I try to figure out like, okay, what was the difference? Bing, boom, take that out there and talk to them about it. And I don't run I can't run their businesses. I don't tell them what to do. I just try and show them trends and data. Be like, hey, I think this is something that we can work together. How can I help? How do I help you solve this problem? Like, I know that the problem is ours. You're the ones responsible for the actual work of solving it. I'm just here to help you, like, identify it, maybe have a plan. I can help you come up with a plan. Like, I know that I'm not actually the one physically doing the work at this point where the problem is occurring. So, it's interesting. It's interesting because you have to, I don't know, I'll say I'm, in a way, trying to influence the actions of and maybe the reactions of somebody that I'm 2 interactions away from. Right? Like, I need the action of one person that I'm 2 away from, and then the reaction of the person that I'm 3 away from to both be positive. So trying to influence people has been the highlight of this role, that's for sure. Like, you're trying to indirectly influence people to achieve a common result. You're trying to identify every time that you're not getting the results that you guys want, and then trying to get on any sort of same page when in reality most of the time in all the scenarios I've been in or stations I've been in, it can really start to feel like we are not on the same page. Like, you guys want one thing but we see a totally different side of it. So you have to be willing to really try and bridge that gap and see both sides of it, because it's easy to just be like, hey, you guys go solve this problem. Like, I found the problem is here, you go solve it. But you're not trying to tell them what to do. You're not trying to be a part of the solution, because it makes your relationships at work that much more amicable. It makes the foundation of your relationships built on the right qualities, like actually seeing that each of you are invested in helping come up with a mutually crafted solution that works for, I don't know, both sides and the customer, the third party, or whoever it may be, the vendor, whatever. But I don't know, enough about work, right? What am I going to do with these kids today? It's rainy, it's cloudy. You're probably wondering, if it's cloudy and rainy, why are you wearing your glasses? Because these ones are, I don't know, whatever that's called. I'm drawing a blank on right now. And it makes everything a little bit brighter. And I don't know why, but I actually feel like with everything that's gray, when I lift up versus down, these actually make the white line stand out better. I don't know why, so I assume it just has something to do with them being polarized, that's the word. But the white lines just stand out better from wearing them. Not that it's that dark out, but I also just think that I look way cooler with sunglasses on, right? So why not? And every time I see a Durango, I just think about my wife's car. And it's like, so my car, right, eventually not going to be my car that much longer. Had it for 5-6 years, almost 7. So at some point trade it in, get a new car, right? But I'd probably drive until it dies. But I'm wondering what my next car would be, or if I just let my wife get a new car and then I take her Durango. That's what I don't know. Hopefully that. Just let her get a new car. Lease, whatever. Hopefully by then I've won the Mega Millions, right? Or something that I don't actually play at all. But maybe my dad will win the Mega Millions instead of me. That'd be pretty cool. Because then I'd just be like, I just want a car for me to pay off my debt. Well, I guess after the old Biden student loan thing, I don't know, my debt situation isn't that bad. I'll only have like a couple grand student loan debt, and then heck, I think I got a little bit of credit card debt, like less than 2 G's from having my car worked on. So other than having my car worked on a few weeks ago, life's been pretty good in terms of the expenses or whatever being consistent expenses that you want, right? So pay off my credit card over the next couple paychecks and try and save some money. 'Cause that's always the game. How much money can you save? And what can you put it towards? What can you invest in? What can you try to keep? I don't know, student loan forgiveness is interesting. oh, inflation is terrible, which, everything is going the way it's going right now. Recession is here, blah, blah, blah. Prices are outrageous. Erica and I are like, I don't even know how to afford rent and daycare anymore, as everybody just jacks up their prices. Meanwhile, I'm sure at work I'll get like a very minimal raise. Not that it's like anything against work. Like, I could apply for promotions to try to get a better raise. Like, I just know that the annual raises are typically not as good as you want them to be, right? So it's like, what do you do? It's not like you're gonna go get a new job. You just gotta keep grinding and wait for things to be good again. Try to come up with other ways to create income, revenue, whatever, right? Or just better manage your money. When you have more time, you have time to look at how you're spending, what you've been spending, right? So try to cut some things out here and there, increase your savings for a little bit, invest in the right things. Get out of a situation where you're renting. If anybody out there is still like not used their, and get out there and use your first time home buyers opportunities. Build your credit, get a small savings. You don't need lots. Like, you got a few $1,000s, I think, in savings, you can probably buy your first crappy little house. Then, instead of paying some landlord a buck ton of money, because that's what we're doing right now after moving back. But instead of paying some landlord a bunch of money, invest in a house, get some equity, and get your first investment going. That'll be my advice to, my kid when he gets older. Depending on how things work then, how the world works then, how real estate works, etc., etc. But buy yourself a duplex, live in one side, rent out the other. There you go. First investment property. Probably have to help him execute that, but that's the goal, right? Set your kids up in a situation where they can be successful. Obviously, the world could change a lot in the next 16 years, but it could also remain relatively the same. That advice would have been great in 2002, just like it is now. I don't know which time home buying was like in 2002, what kind of down payment you had to have back then compared to now, but 20 years ago, it was still good advice. Get fresh out of college and you got a decent job and you can afford, buy that duplex, rent out the other half. Heck, buy a duplex, rent out both of them, live with your parents. I lived with my parents until I was like 24. Well, I guess that's not true because I moved out for a few years and then came back, right? So I lived with my parents when I was 24 though at one point, so don't be afraid to move back in, live in situations where it's cheaper with your friends. You don't always have to be the one that, I guess, that buys the duplex. Maybe your friend buys a house and you want to rent a room off of them. You lower their mortgage by $400 a month and you get fortunate as heck, because rent, you ain't getting anywhere where it's cheap. And if you got a friend who's buying their first home and they want to rent you a room, capitalize. Both winning in that situation, as long as you're fair to each other, understand what the benefit is of each person's role here. Be transparent. As long as you're transparent, it'll work out. Be honest. I don't know, Jordan Peterson, probably one person I heard talk about it recently. My own parents, but like the best people I know, always been really about. And one of my coworkers I really love for this reason is I absolutely hate liars, basically. Like, don't lie, right? It's easy to lie. It's easy to not tell people the whole truth. trust me, we've all been there. But the more transparent, forthright, honest you are up front, the easier it is to just be, I guess, yourself, comfortable within who you are. Like, I don't know, you can either be at war with the world and at peace with yourself, or at peace with the world and at war with yourself. And so, like, I'd rather just tell people the truth. Does it suck a lot of the times? Yeah, because you want to doctor things up. Like, rather than telling somebody, like, hey, this is not looking good for you, and you're probably going to end up losing what you really wanted out of this situation. You know, instead you're like, oh, well, you know, maybe it'll work out. Like, as soon as you know that it's not going to work out, tell them the truth. Like, you know. As soon as you know that they're not coming back, maybe, like, don't try and doctor it up. Like, they're really struggling. They're really not anywhere where you needed them to be. Don't be like, hey, it was close. Like, no, it wasn't close. Like, close would be a much more narrow margin. We could define what close would be for me. Let's say 3 to 5. You're trying to dress up 25 failures as 3 to 5. That's not the case. 25 failures is 25 failures. And even though you can use numbers to make it look small, it's still 25 times that you failed. So let's talk about it. Because it's not that complicated. And in your relationships and everything, like, I don't know. Like, obviously there's been times where about shit to your family or your friends or whatever. Maybe you're just lying about how, yeah, life's, people are like, how you doing? And you say fine or okay when you're really not. I don't know, I've always found it interesting that being willing to just say, like, I don't know, life is what it is right now. Like, it's annoying, I'm frustrated, I'm tired, etc. But, like, I'm getting by. People respect that. My employees used to be like, I don't know, how are you, Mason? After I asked them all, how are they? Like, I don't know, man. I've been awake for like 2 hours right now. So far the day's okay. But I'd be lying if I told you I'm doing well. It's 2 a.m. right now and I wish I was asleep, you know what I mean? We would all kind of laugh. Like, it's okay to be real with them. Like, not sit there like, woe is me, life sucks. Like, we're all in this together, we're all here together, right? So why not keep it real with them, that even for you sometimes it's like, man, I wish I wasn't here right now either, guys, but I am here, so I'm trying to make the most of it. I'm not saying you gotta be like, oh man, woe is me. Nobody wants to hear that crap, but people do want to know that person they report to deals with some of the same crap that they deal with and feels the same way about it that they do, but like, that we're all here to execute, do our jobs, right? Sometimes I think about how I would want a truck, but then I think about how I don't actually do anything that requires me to need a truck. Yes, mileage has to be poopy, so I know Erica would probably want me to get one. Like, maybe one day I'll be somebody who needs to pull a camper or something, but right now that's not a purchase that we're making, so I don't know. My daily drive is almost over though. So shout out to anybody who's been checking it out. Shout out to anybody who's been watching. About to surprise Erica. She had no idea that I'd be home this early. Probably surprised Lincoln too. 9:25. Nobody's hit me up on the work phone. So hopefully they continue not hitting me up on the work phone. If there's anything anybody wants to hear about on the daily drive, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep rambling as I continue my attempt at giving up nicotine for good. This is day 10, and yeah, I had to skip a bunch of days in between because of poopy audio. My phone not recording properly. I guess I'm hoping that this all worked out well. About to find out. Thanks for coming.